morning.
Now, you've been in Rwanda recently. Now, when people talk about Rwanda, normally they think about the Rwandan genocide 22 years ago. But this is a new development. There is something happening in Rwanda which is quite encouraging.
Completely so. I mean, I think under the leadership of, he's known as a digital president, Paul Kagame, him and his cabinet have taken a long-term policy decision to really change the fortunes of the country. And they see technology and innovation as the main reason for doing this. They've invested very heavily in a scheme called the One Laptop Per Child, which was a very low-spec laptop, which was rolled out to kids across the country. What they've also done is they have taken a very forward-thinking kind of policy decision around drone technology in allowing drones to fly over Rwandan skies.
Why is that necessary? Because I see some of the pictures there that we have there, beautiful.
So yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one. So what you have here is this is a mock-up of the current Droneport that's under construction. I mean, you have a situation in Rwanda where maybe similar to what happened in the late, early 2000s, where there was not a lot of fixed-line technology in Africa. People didn't have hard phones, so they adopted cell phones really quickly. It's a very similar trend happening in infrastructure. The road infrastructure in Central Africa is not great. So instead of trying to plow a lot of money into road infrastructure, they've taken a policy decision to invest in drone infrastructure. So essentially leapfrogging the current status quo and putting themselves in a leading position.
It says here that it will provide health facilities, that particular drone.
That's correct. So what will happen is there's essentially two routes with the Droneport. There's the red line and the blue line. So the red line is designed to get emergency medical facilities or emergency medical supplies and blood out to the hospitals in the regions, either by landing or by parachuting the emergency medication in. And then there's also just something like good old-fashioned what's called the blue line. And the blue line is really just large-scale industrial drones transporting a lot of equipment and supplies and repairs to different parts of the country.
This is absolutely fantastic, fascinating stuff. So, of course, this gives Rwanda visibility and expose the country, of course, to investments from abroad.
It does. I mean, and it's been done really well. So what you have is the whole world kind of understanding that drone technology can provide a huge amount of advantages. But you have highly regulated civil aviation authorities in many countries, and the skies are very busy. The skies are not busy in Rwanda. So they've seen this, and they said, come here, we'll give you the license to fly, and you can test, prototype, and experiment over our skies.
So what does this now do for Rwanda? I mean, it probably, their GDP must be growing through the roof with this.
I mean, Rwanda's always has grown, obviously coming off a low base. So Rwanda's GDP has grown quite steadily over the last couple of years. But what it has done, it is continually placing the spotlight on the small country in the center of the continent, and it's saying to the rest of the world, we are a forward-thinking country in terms of ICT policy. We are a forward-thinking country in terms of avionic development and our own people. So what it's allowed to happen, it's allowed Rwanda to leapfrog a lot of the other countries in the continent and attract in investment, attract in technology partners from around the world. It's a really good case study of how to open markets and to bring in investment from across the world.
Now, this is really forward-thinking, as you said in your opening statement, but can this be duplicated to other countries who is battling with infrastructure, like the DRC, perhaps?
I think so. I mean, I think, if the roads are bad in Rwanda, they're really bad in the DRC.
Yes.
I think what you'll find is you always have early adopters. So Rwanda is an early adopter from a policy point of view. And they're very clearly, definitively said, we are going to lead. We are going to be at the forefront of this. Once they get the model right, it will become easily replicable in other countries. And what you'll also find is you'll find other governments going to the Rwanda, or maybe going through the AU and talking to Rwanda and saying, look, you've done this really successfully. We have the similar challenges. Can you help us affect these solutions in our market? So I would foresee this occurring in any major market or any major country which has poor infrastructure and a latent demand for this kind of technology.
Terry, as usual, thank you so much for your time and joining us in studio. Thank you. Terry Behan, of course, there, giving us the latest from Rwanda. The Droneport there is Think Africa's group, Terry Behan. Now,